Picture this: December 31st marking my 12th year of living entirely on dividend income. No salary, no side hustle, just quarterly payments hitting my account like clockwork. But here's what nobody tells you about the dividend lifestyle. The biggest shock after 12 years wasn't the market crashes, the dividend cuts, or even the tax implications. It was realizing that everything I thought I knew about dividend investing in year one was completely backwards. In the next few minutes, I'm walking you through the three distinct phases every dividend investor goes through. The honeymoon phase, where everything seems perfect, the reality check that almost breaks you, and the optimization phase where you finally crack the code. And I'll reveal the exact ETFs that survived all 12 years in my portfolio, including one that's delivered 13 consecutive years of dividend growth while most others crumbled. Disclaimer: this is my personal journey and educational content only. All investments carry risk, and past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Consider your own financial situation before investing. Here's how this journey really unfolds: the honeymoon phase, the reality check that changes everything, and the optimization strategy that actually works long-term. Let me take you back to year one. January 2013. I just received my first full quarter of dividend payments. $2,847 hitting my account from what I thought was a diversified dividend portfolio. I was convinced I'd cracked the code. Just buy the highest yielding stocks and ETFs, sit back, and collect checks. My friend Harry had the same idea. We both loaded up on anything yielding over 5%, thinking we were financial geniuses. MLPS, REITs, covered call funds. If it paid big, we bought it. By month 3, we were projecting our path to complete financial independence within 5 years. The honeymoon phase is intoxicating. Every dividend payment feels like free money, validation that you've beaten the system. But then came the first test. May 2013, when the Fed hinted at tapering quantitative easing. My high-yield darlings dropped 15% in 2 weeks. The dividend payments stayed the same, but watching your principal evaporate changes your psychology fast. This is when I discovered my first survivor, VYM, Vanguard's High Dividend Yield ETF. Not because it was immune to the drop, but because of what it did next. With its 2.53% yield today, VYM might seem boring compared to those 5% yielders. But here's what 12 years taught me about boring. VYM holds 583 companies, not 50 cherry-picked high yielders. When 3 of my individual dividend stocks cut their payments in 2014, VYM just kept paying. Broadcom makes up 6.84% of the fund. JP Morgan, another 4.15%. These aren't exciting yields, they're sustainable yields from profitable businesses. The funds delivered 194% total return over the past decade. But more importantly, it's maintained dividend payments through every crisis since. Year 2 brought lesson number 2. Dividend investing isn't about finding the highest yield. It's about finding the highest sustainable yield that grows. Enter the reality check phase. Years 4 through 7 will test everything you think you know about passive income streams. 2015 to 2016 brought the energy sector collapse. My high-yield energy plays that seemed so smart? Half of them cut or suspended dividends entirely. Harry's portfolio took an even bigger hit. He'd gone all in on energy MLPs yielding 8 to 10%, convinced oil would stay above $100 forever. By February 2016, he was back to working full-time. The dividend dream shattered by one sector rotation. This is when I discovered the power of dividend growth over high yield. SCHD, the Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF, became my reality check salvation. With a current yield of 3.67%, SCHD doesn't scream income. But that 13-year consecutive dividend growth streak? That's the real story. The fund's grown its dividend at 10.87% annually over 5 years. Your yield on cost doubles every 7 years at that rate. Chevron and ConocoPhillips make up 8.67% of the fund combined. But unlike buying them individually, you're protected by 101 other holdings. SCHD only holds companies that have paid dividends for 10-plus consecutive years. It's a quality filter that saves you from dividend disasters. During the COVID crash of 2020, SCHD did something remarkable. While dozens of companies cut dividends, SCHDs actually increased by 2.5%. The fund's methodology, screening for free cash flow and return on equity, meant it avoided the dividend traps. This is what long-term wealth building actually looks like. Year 7 brought the most important realization. You need 3 types of dividend ETFs for true financial independence, not one. The first type is your stable income generator like VYM. The second is your quality growth compounder like SCHD. But the third type changed everything for my retirement savings strategy. DGRO, iShares. Core Dividend Growth ETF, the sleeping giant. DGRO's current yield is only 2.12%, which would have made year 1 me laugh. But its 10-year consecutive dividend growth changes the entire equation. The fund's grown its dividend at 9.06% annually over the past decade. Start with 2%, but in 10 years you're looking at effective yields approaching 5% on your original investment. Apple and Microsoft make up 6.2% of the fund combined. These aren't traditional dividend stocks, they're dividend growth monsters. DGRO holds 406 companies, each required to have 5+ years of dividend growth. It's the perfect balance between current income and future income growth. During my portfolio's evolution, DGRO became the growth engine. While VYM paid the bills, DGRO built the future income stream. Year 8 introduced me to market cycles and tax-advantaged accounts. The optimization phase had begun. This is when you stop chasing yields and start engineering income. You realize that dividend investing is about total return, not just the dividend yield. VIG, Vanguard. Dividend Appreciation ETF entered my portfolio here. With just 1.67% yield, it seems like the wrong choice for income, but VIG has delivered 236% total return over 10 years. That capital appreciation plus growing dividends creates true wealth. The fund holds dividend growers with 10+ year track records. Broadcom at 6%, Microsoft at 5.2%. These are compounding machines. Here's the optimization secret nobody discusses. You don't need high yield if your total return supports systematic withdrawals. A 2% yield with 10% annual appreciation beats a 5% yield with 2% appreciation. Every single time over a decade-plus timeline. Year 10 brought the covered call revelation. JEPI, JP Morgan Equity. Premium Income, ETF, the income enhancer. With its 8.42% yield, JEPI looks like those dangerous high yielders from year 1. But this is structured differently through covered call strategies. The fund's grown its dividend at 43.74% annually over 5 years. Though the price appreciation is limited, the income is substantial. JEPI became my monthly income stabilizer. While my other holdings paid quarterly, JEPI smoothed out the cash flow. But here's the critical lesson about high-yield funds. They're portfolio tools, not portfolio foundations. Devo offers another approach with 4.59% yield and monthly payments. But notice it only makes up 10 to 15% of my optimized portfolio. The 12-year portfolio that actually works looks like this. 40% SCHD for quality dividend growth, 30% VYM for stable yield, 20% DGRO for growth, 10% JEPI for income boost. This combination survived 2013's taper tantrum, 2015's energy crash, 2018's rate spike, and 2020's pandemic. More importantly, it's grown income every single year without exception. Harry rebuilt his portfolio using this framework in 2017. Today, he's back to living on dividends, but with a sustainable strategy. His mistake wasn't choosing dividend investing. It was choosing yield over quality, concentration over diversification. After 12 years, here's what living on dividends really means. It's not about finding the highest yield or timing the market perfectly. It's about building a dividend machine that pays you more each year than the last. It's about sleeping well during market crashes because your income keeps flowing. The reality of dividend living isn't luxurious. My annual dividend income covers expenses, not extravagances. But the freedom? That's real. No boss, no commute, no corporate politics, just quarterly payments from 1,500 plus companies across these ETFs. Each one working while I sleep, eat, or travel. The biggest surprise after 12 years isn't the income. It's the compound effect of dividend growth on your lifestyle. Year one's $35,000 in dividends seemed life-changing. Year 12's $67,000 feels almost inevitable when you understand the math. Investment portfolio optimization isn't about perfection. It's about sustainable systems that survive market cycles. These ETFs aren't recommendations, they're examples of what survived my journey. Your path might include different funds, different allocations, but the principles remain constant: quality over yield, diversification over concentration, growth over immediate gratification. The dividend lifestyle is possible, not through get-rich-quick schemes or 15% yielders, but through patience and compound growth. Start with quality, add consistently, reinvest strategically. Let time and compound interest do the heavy lifting. 12 years from now, you might be writing your own dividend story. And trust me, it beats any salary I ever earned. Next week, I'm revealing the exact month-by-month strategy to build your first $100,000 dividend portfolio, including the 3 critical mistakes that could delay your financial independence by a decade.